Well, these drugs are not approved yet. They've been filed for approval for LDL lowering with the FDA. We expect they should be approved end of the summer through the fall. There are two that have filed. The drug I've worked on in Odyssey long-term, which is alirocumab. The other drug, which I also participate in the research, evolocumab, are the two drugs. Doc, in small town America, boy, we would love for you to check the cholesterol on every single one of your patients to find those with genetic high cholesterol. It's about 1 in 200 or 300, so you will find them and treat them, because familial hypercholesterolemia is a curable disease, and it's a shame not to offer that to people. So that would be my first thing. And I think as these drugs come to market, you know, we work out payment and all that stuff. It's certainly a nice thing for people who can't take a statin to get cardiovascular risk reduction. They're high tech. It's talking about high tech science. They're monoclonal antibodies, which is nice because then they are very specific to the target and really don't have side effect, drug interactions and a lot of side effects. But, the other thing, part of the equation is they're quite expensive. Or we anticipate they'll certainly be more expensive than generic statins. But, I think we kind of alluded to this earlier. It actually gives us an opportunity to perhaps rethink what we're doing in terms of, people are on statins, give them an acute, intensive LDL lowering therapy to really stop atherosclerosis in its tracks. And then people, they don't have any plaques that are going to rupture and cause heart attacks and strokes. Maybe we can stop. Again, all this has to be validated in clinical trials and things like that, which are ongoing. But it might be a new paradigm. We'll just have to see. And then it becomes quite cost effective, because if you can cut the risk of heart attack and stroke in half, that's pretty big. The alirocumab, the Sanofi product, has a little bit different dosing scheme. You start at 75 milligrams every 2 weeks, and then you go up to 150 if your cholesterol stays high. Whereas the other one, the evolocumab, you give kind of the full dose every 2 weeks. And you can also, they have a way you can give it once a month, which is also kind of exciting because you don't have to do it very often. But it looks like they have similar LDL lowering reduction at the full dose, and it was at the full dose that we saw this cardiovascular reduction at 50% over a year to year and a half. So I think they're probably relatively similar. We just don't have enough follow-up to say are there difference in safety profiles and stuff. But boy, they seem to be very safe to date, at least in these shorter-term trials. That we need to do the long-term trials to make sure, because we're actually getting pretty low LDL levels in a lot of these patients. But so that's why, for many reasons, it's important to wait for the long-term trials, but they look pretty good. I have these studies going on at my research site. It's not been a problem to recruit for these studies. I mean, there are people who won't sign up when they find out it's an injectable, but people who sign up, they're quite adherent. It's not an issue. There's this little auto-injector pen thing for most of the doses, and you just grab your fat and you get injected. It's really quite straightforward. People think it's kind of cool, actually, that it's kind of high tech, like I said. So we'll see. I mean, again, these are volunteers. A lot of our patients in these studies have familial hypercholesterolemia, are highly motivated to get their cholesterol down because they have all these relatives who died of heart attacks in their 30s and 40s, so they want to do as much as they can. But I think that's always a question. How acceptable will it be? But it's easy to learn how to do it, and we just really haven't had many. We've been surprised. We thought it would be more difficult uptake, but it's gone very smoothly.